Hello guys, it is your boy Prince of Others, and I'm back here with a new what if part. What if Ichigo had the Sharingan part 5, Reiou. If y'all know what that word means, then you're a true Bleach fan, and you already know what's gonna happen. So yeah, let's just get into it. Forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my future videos, and let's just get into the recap real quick. Let's begin with Ichigo starting his training with the visor. You once again meet White, but this time the Hollow had given up his power over to the King, which being Ichigo, which made Ichigo recount how much he'd been dealing with him in secret and for how long. And Ichigo at first was hesitant, but he took his power and grew immensely from it, and he just had complete control. Everyone meanwhile trains as well, and one day, however, Inoue comes with news for Ichigo, and hearing it, Ichigo would have the idea to train Inoue, despite her saying that the Reaper said that she couldn't. He had Hachi give her his techniques, but he would change them to jutsus and kind of convert them so she could use them better, since her powers innately come from him anyway. Days would then pass, and soon Chad, Tatsuki, Ishida, and Ichigo would go to Hueco Mundo. They fight and beat their enemies before leaving the underground place they were at and flying over to Las Noches. On the way, they meet Pesce, Donchaka, and Nel, as well as Baba. And after some misunderstandings, the two groups would get along and head over to Las Noches together. And they're met by a scent hollow that Ichigo would beat. Renji and Rukia would then arrive and say Orihime had been captured upon heading over to Soul Society to go help. And this drives everyone to go harder and try to just beat everyone faster. And then when they arrive at Las Noches, Ichigo specifically just starts a massacre. He's first met by the former king of Hueco Mundo, but his Amaterasu was stronger than the power of his control over time. He beats the king while protecting Nel, who was taken away by a clone to go on ahead, and the clone is then attacked by Haribel, Noitora, Luffy, and Stark, but it holds out until the real Ichigo arrives. And while Nel arrives, no. While Nel would hide, Ichigo would kill them, and the real Ichigo comes later, and he would then have to go to Rukia because he actually senses her at death's door. And he arrives and fights Byakuya and Hanataro, who was healing her with Chad, who he met along the way. Kenpachi comes asking for a fight, and shenanigans ensue. Tatsuki meanwhile would head to Orihime and meet her, but she also meets Ulquiorra. Luckily, Ichigo arrives and helps kill the Hollow, or Angar, yeah, whatever. And then he dies, and Ichigo reveals he can now use the Genta, which Ichigo will then use to head to the fake Karakura for Aizen. As the battle for the Okin began, not only were there Menace Grande present, but also certain Arankars that used to follow certain Espada who were kind of dead that were here. They made their way out to fight, and while they fought, Yamamoto found himself preoccupied with Aizen's rising power. He had not only lost his blade and had to rely on physical strength, but as he pummeled Aizen over and over again, it was to no avail. Aizen even let himself be hit until his mask would then fully form, and he smiles. Of course, Yamamoto can't see this. And with one slash, he cuts and sends the head captain flying, but he manages to stop himself. Even if I used it, would I win right now, thought the elder, as Aizen would then, after the entire battle, finally speak. Wonder why it was made to stop you specifically, but I don't think I'll even need him anymore. This kind of power is just so amazing. Looking around, Yamamoto felt that he truly would have to use his Bankai and find his source somehow, but Aizen cut their connection and he can't use a jutsu to bring it back because he found no reason to learn them. He was the strongest. So both he and Aizen, as well as everyone in that moment, however, then feel someone arrive as from afar a word isn't heard. Bankai! Ichigo's reality would then grow as he blitzes and clashes with Aizen, who will then hold back Ichigo with ease despite him being in his final form, and the young man is then pushed back right as he then stares at Aizen, who disappears and appears behind Ichigo only with a thrust, and Ichigo will then turn and knock away his blade. The two will then begin a strenuous back and forth as their clashes are felt all over by everybody. It began to quite literally shake everything. However, Aizen said what Ichigo was too scared to say in that moment as they fought. "You're not strong enough." His mask then comes apart, showing a bizarre story-like skin beneath, which terrified Ichigo, but with a slash he releases Getsuga Tensho. However, that attack is then blown away like nothing, right as he's then stabbed in the heart, but even then he grabs onto Aizen's sword and lights it ablaze. Ugh, even now that flame is too much, said Aizen, as he jumps back using Flash Step, while the sword then melts to nothing, and Yamamoto would then appear beside Ichigo, asking, "Can you go on?" With heavy breath, Ichigo would then barf for blood at this point and say that he can fight, but he will not be able to put this to an end, and they need to kind of step their game up. "What happened to your blade?" "Its abilities were sealed by Aizen." "Freaking monster," Ichigo would say. "I'll take that as a compliment, but as of now, none of you can beat me. I've even gone that far in my power level, but I've gone beyond the boundaries of humans. I've become a god, Kurosaki." However, upon hearing this, Ichigo had a certain idea pop into his head randomly, as he would then smile, and while Aizen is confused, he would then soon begin to shiver and look at his arm. "Impossible. I'm scared. How is this? It can't be." Even Yamamoto and everyone that felt it at that moment, as As when Soy found that was knocking an Arrancar into a wall, she looked up and found that all the reishi in the air was gathering to Ichigo, but unknown to her, Ichigo was taking it all into his eyes. Slowly but surely, however, only one of Ichigo's eyes then takes a new form, that of the Renegon. An absolute explosion of Reiatsu and Reishi would then tower over everyone at that moment, which shatters Ichigo's armor, and a new Shuhakusho would then begin to form, giving him a short sleeve black robe with a hoodie covering his face, and a red swirl is inscribed on his right side as he gains what Sasuke wears after the time skip, but just down below. But the belt, instead of being purple, is red. I don't know what's going on, but let's tango. Sangetsu, give me everything, yells Ichigo as he appears right before Aizen, who upon being stabbed would then feel something just kind of pulling him into Ichigo's blade somehow. What the hell is that eye, he yells. It's a product of my anger towards you, Aizen. I don't understand it either, but I can kill you, and that's all I need to know. He would then slash up and cut Aizen's very soul out of his body, leaving his entire Soul Reaper body completely intact and unmoving, right as the Hokyu would then shatter and exit his body. Aizen's soul. I'm sure of it. That's it, thought Yamamoto. Upon taking out the soul, Ichigo's mind is then filled with information that is surprising, but using it, he would then make a hand sign as a creature would then form from nowhere, and it snarls, causing everyone to stop their battle. They all look up to see a giant creature only up to its neck with an open mouth, inside of which Ichigo then throws Aizen's soul. Aizen lost? That can't be, said the Arrancar. The sound of Aizen's body thudding would then be heard as, his real body fell down, and it would echo as at this point, the King of Hell would then chew up the Reaper's soul before burping a loud belch that shakes with everyone's soul as well. However, Ichigo wasn't affected by it and begins to actually feel his energy drop immensely instead, but before he went out, he would then ask, What are you? You are my master, and I am the Yama, said the creature, before it then fades and everything then goes silent. From below, Ishin, who was in battle, as well as Igaku, Ukitake, Shinsui, they were all just shocked. That thing, did it just call itself the King of Hell? Asked Ukitake. Yeah, I don't want to think about it too much. It's over, right? Said Shinsui, as he then looks back to face the Tre Bestias and their Chimera Parka, a gigantic beast, that they've been fighting against, and he says, well, it's almost over. They were then swung at as the two would then appear behind a few feet back, as Shinsui would then ask if they can stop the beast now, because, everything is over. Don't tell us what to do, said Mila Rose. Also, we can't stop it. Are you serious, says Ukitake? Up above, after all of that use of power, Ichigo's new form would then fade as he falls into the arms of Yamamoto, who sees Ichigo slowly becoming skinnier and malnourished, and yet his eyes still remained. Pulling him that much reishi is more of a Quincy trait. Don't tell me. He would then stare at Ichigo's arm and find that his veins are lit by reishi, which he could of course see because they were literally shining, and he finally figured it out. Kurisaki's part Quincy as well, it seems. He truly went too far, but maybe he realized it earlier on as well. At that moment, however, he then senses an attack and turns to block a blow from Wonderwise, which actually hurts him, as he then notices the Arrancar seems to have somehow used up his, he was using his fire. And he would then transform into his resurrection form when Yamamoto would then say, I can't protect Kurosaki and beat this brat at the same time. He would then actually hear a sound at that moment be cut off, and he would then look down to see a blade being made from Ichigo's torso until it pops out and he catches it, and he is fueled by Reiatsu and cannot believe what just happened. Is this my Zanpakuto? Almost a perfect copy. Thank you, Kurosaki. Even in your sleep, eh? Ichigo for a moment would then gain consciousness while making that sword, but slowly fade into darkness, hoping things would be fine. He had done what he could. He took care of Aizen, but this new power left him confused. That voice, there was a voice that actually told him about what to do. That information, it sounded almost godly. It was divine. It was the only way to describe it, as he thought. What the hell is going on? As the lights go out, we have a time skip. Ichigo would soon start to ruffle around the bed a few days later, feeling so tired that even moving a muscle was painful. However, he slowly then manages to open his eyes and finds that 5 people he had never met before were staring down at him. Hey yo, says Ichibe, as Ichigo would then look around wide-eyed. Where am I? Huh? That's how you think your savior's brat, says Tenjiro, as Reaper would then show a delinquent-like scowl before then promptly being shut up by Senjumaru, who says the boy is clearly shaken. He should be. Well, I'll feed you a whole lot, so you don't have to worry, says Kiryu. And then this is when Ichigo would ask, this doesn't really answer my questions. This isn't Soul Society, is it? Where am I? With a smile, Tetsu would then reply that he was now in the Royal Palace and they were Squad 0. By this point, Ichigo's body then actually starts to naturally heal even faster, allowing him to stand straight because he was actually pulling in the reishi around, surprising the Royal Guard when they see this, and his Renegon and Sharingan show up, and his Renegon now had 3 to more, by the way. You really are one, huh? Quincy, said Tenjiro. Yeah, I don't like to think about it too much. I've heard about you from my father. Why am I here? Ichigo with a wide smile that says that Reiou is calling for him, and Ichigo tilts his head in confusion because he had not heard of this being. However, after being given new clothes and being taken to the highest ground, he meets the man after entering a room, and Reiou is essentially just a man inside a crystal. However, this version of Reiou, while still the same as before, it's just, a guy in the crystal. He has more of a likeness to Hagoromo, has a robot, and can even talk. When Ichigo steps before him, he feels the others just kind of flash step away and leave them alone, as the man would then say, "Come closer." Ichigo was kind of startled by how grimy his voice sounded, and yet so sweet, like he had been through so much, and he just sounded so nice, He comes closer as instructed, until Reiou would then smile, saying, "Thank you, Kurosaki. It's no problem. Again, why am I here? I know I beat Aizen, but I wasn't just called here for thank you, right? I would like for you to join Squad Zero. Your knowledge of jutsus, all those in this squad have made everything Reapers know, from Zanpakutos to even their homes. They're their progenitors, and you have become one as well. So this is me being acknowledged. But I'm guessing if I reject the offer, I can't go back down, can I?" Reiou would then say, "Unfortunately, and with a smile, Ichigo says that he'd like to reject the offer. If I don't, then what was all of this for, right?" His eyes would then return to normal as Reiou would then smile, saying that he will be an honorary royal guard then. Just once again, thank you, Kurosaki, and get ready. Far stronger forces are coming. Unfortunately, your fight is not over yet. Your Quincy nature will be truly tested soon. Ichigo, while a bit tested by this, would say to bring it on. I've been through hell and back. I'm still here. We will now go down below from the Royal Palace, Soul Society, where Yamamoto, Shinsui, Ukitake, Soifon, Hitsugaya, Hirako, as well as Kensei, and they were now captains, were just kind of waiting. It had been actually a week since the fight. And they wait at an unspecified place, just looking up to the sky. When Hirako would then say, "Oh, I see it," and from the sky it then pierces a kind of pillar, and it just falls right before them and blinds them with dust. And as the dust clears, however, the pillar then opens up as Ichigo would then walk out of it wearing a white kimono. "Hirako, Kensei, looking good." Also, they are way too violent with their transportation. Happy to see him back, the captain would then smile as Ichigo would then scratch his head, saying, "So I heard it's been a while, but Aizen is gone, right? I didn't go into a coma for nothing. Imagine if." "No, he's done for," said Hitsugaya. With a sigh of relief, Ichigo would then say good, and he would then bow and open up a garganta behind, saying that he would have to cut the reunion a little short. "You know how it is." No, go. You deserve it," said Yamamoto. "Say hello to everyone for me. I'll keep the pass, by the way. Don't want to get bored." With a slight smirk, he would then jump through the garganta, and it would then close as Suifan would then say, "I have a feeling that boredom is going to be the death of us." Ichigo would then come to fly above the Ryo Karakura and feel happy that he was back home, and he flies down to head to the Kurosaki clinic without being noticed, and he would then land in through his window only to be hit in the face by confetti. As he wipes it off, his face would then instantly be met by family, friends, as well as Rukia, who was present. "Welcome back," they would all say. His room is left decorated by party things and a bunch of stuff, it's just a party for him. And as he gets onto his bed, he would then ask, "How did you guys? You never come through the door anymore," said Yuzu. "Honestly, it's a bit of a bad habit," said Chad. "Even I always do it," said Rukia. "But we knew, so welcome back, kid." "I already cut the cake though," said Ishin. "What?" everyone yells as Ichigo would then ask what the point of the surprise is, and his teacher, what the hell, his sisters would then jump in with him, and he tries to apologize, making his friends chuckle, but Ichigo would then say he's being serious though, like, "Jeez, way to ruin my comeback." "Well, at least I didn't eat it." As the argument continues between the family, their voices will be drowned out by Ichigo's friends trying to calm them down, and we have a big time skip. For now, the possibility of me covering the war arc is open, as I can have a short flashback to everything. Well, not a short flashback, it's going to be an arc, but just the sort of story that maybe Ichigo would tell his own son. I could do it like that. Speaking of which, after 20 years pass, we stay in Karakura and focus in on our young Kazui as he sleeps atop a roof with a cap covering his face and leans against the wall. He's not wearing a structure, however, he's very civilian right now, when his ears then perk up upon a loud boom being heard. Lifting his head, Kazui will then look to see a flying hollow barely towards him. "Man, I was taking a break." As he gets up, Kazui will then yawn as he holds his hand out and forms a short Shikai blade, saying, "Show yourself, Yoroi." His blade then explodes with a Reiou and transforms as the creature would then be nearing him, only to be blown away by a flame attack resembling a phoenix that then disintegrates it to nothing. The smoke from all this then face showed a young man's weapon, which would now be a gigantic blue-like scythe. Actually, no, I'm going to say red. Red-like scythe, which he hangs onto his shoulder, saying, "Yep, that should do it." With a turn, he would then leap into the air and head home while flying and turning his Shikai to normal and just kind of making it disappear. Afterwards, he would then enter the Kurosaki clinic while taking off his hat through the door, not the window this time, and saying, "Mom, Dad, Mom." He enters the living room when he then dodges a kick from Ichigo as he leaps to the ceiling and leaps back with an axe kick, which his old man then blocks with ease. "I told you to take off your shoes when you enter." You're such a drama queen, Dad. Ichigo would then lessen his guard, and Kazi would then get down on him with a huff. I mean, he's being a bit hussy. I think that's a word. He would then take off his shoes as Ichigo would then smile before then ruffling his hair. Wasn't that hard, right? Come on. The two would then walk into the kitchen as Kazi would then say it's been boring lately, to which Ichigo asks if he wants to train, and with a shiver coming down his spine, he would then shake his head when Tatsuki would then walk out of the kitchen with the book in hand. Appreciate the moments of peace, you know? Your dad was much worse back then. Be more violent. I wasn't that bad, said Ichigo as he starts to flirt with Tatsuki, who says she's not gonna take that back as he's kind of he was a bit crazy. He did light people on fire multiple times, and Kazi would then say they were being gross, as kids usually do, and Ichigo would then say, well, when you're an adult, you'll do the same thing in front of your son or daughter. How's your eye, by the way? Kazi would then show his Sharingan, and it would be at Tutomoe, with him saying that it's okay, and he's kind of adjusting to it, and Ichigo would then be glad to hear he wasn't going through the same pain that he had to deal with. When's Sasuke visiting, by the way? Asked Kazui. Orihime and Ishida are on a little vacay, so probably a month, but we can go to Soul Society. Said Tatsuki. Yeah, why not, said Kazui. So for now, this will be the end of the series. I'm ending it off here. As I said, I'm still thinking about whether or not I should continue talking about the war arc and Yuwa, but I hope you enjoyed. This is the end of a wonderful series. Alright, peace. I'm gone.
Who alive can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I whip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know, the flow harder than a Scotch bonnet. Don't try studying me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm